The Masters Champion 2021, the Tiger, Bingtao. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the number 9 in the world. He's the UK champion 2021. He's a cyclone. He is Zhao Xintong!
These two players who know each other inside out, they've been friends for many years, they've grown up together in the sport, they've practiced together at Victoria Sheffield Academy, and now they're contesting one of the biggest finals on the calendar for the Brandon Parker Trophy, named in honour of the former World Snooker Tour director and manager who sadly passed away back in 2020. There really is a brotherly feeling about this final, but of course, once the formalities are done with, it's all business on the table. The best of 17 frames, the first to 9 to be crowned champion. 8 of those frames coming up for you in this first session this afternoon here live on the Eurosport app and Discovery Plus. And it's a very good afternoon to another former Masters champion, Alan McManus.
Good afternoon, Phil, and everyone watching. Yes. Here we go then. I'm going to call this the friendly final. We got a sense of that with that was nice to see, wasn't it? Arm round each other, good pals, good friends. But that all stops right here and now. Off we go.
Both of these players so impressive on their way to the final. In the case of Zhao Xintong, of course, he started with a bang in qualifying back in October before we got to Berlin, with 4 centuries and an 85 break to beat Stuart Carrington, then got past Pang Junju, and then here at the Templedrum, Mark Williams 5-3, Tom Ford 5-1, that wonderful victory over Judd Trump 5-1 in the quarterfinals, and then coming back from 3-1 down to beat Ricky Walden in the semi-finals by 6 frames to 3 as Yan Bingtao leaves that attempted escape a little short. It's going to go back. In Yan's case, Chen Si-fan and Li Pei-fan were his victims in qualifying, and then Dave Gilbert, that terrific win over Mark Selby when he was 2 down with 3 to play. Ryan Day coming from behind in that one to win a decider as well, and then that dramatic match last evening against Mark Allen, which he eventually won with that fabulous pot on match ball pink by 6 frames to 4. So both players have produced some really memorable stuff, Alan, to get to the title match.
Yeah, very much so. Xintong, I think, would be the general consensus that he'll start marginal favourite for this. Not so much hot favourite, but probably a warm favourite. Just on the scoring, you know, we know what he's like. He brushed aside Judd Trump with the minimum of fuss. Yan Bingtao, as you said and touched on, he's came through quite a few battles, and of course he had on Friday, he had a big day, 2 matches to get through, and then that, as you said, last evening, the drama of the superb win against Mark Allen.
Yes, Zhao Xintong has knocked in 5 centuries to Yan Bingtao's 2, both having produced one in their respective semi-final victories. But as we know, Yan Bingtao is such a great all-round player, lots of tactical nous, very good potter. Zhao Xintong, on the other hand, is just such a breathtaking talent. Although they've known each other since they were in short trousers and are very good friends off the table, this is actually only their 3rd professional meeting. It's 1 win apiece. Both of those matches coming in 2020. Zhao winning at the World Grand Prix 4-2 in the first round. Yan winning in the 4th round of the Northern Ireland Open 4-3. But this clearly is a whole different ball game today, a ranking final. And there's one of those long pots that we've come to expect from Zhao Xintong.
1.
He just makes them look so straightforward, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's the first, but it won't be the last. I guarantee it. We're going to see lots of them. What a great pot. Beautiful cue ball as well. Now, he might be playing a little cannon here on red and black together. That'll be the shot. Oh. He probably would have got it. The cue ball would have gone in a different path had he got the pot in the yellow, but he's got away with it.
I wonder to what extent this great friendship they have off the table is going to be an important factor today, because as we've seen in the past, Alan, you know, sometimes good friends, when they play in a match like this, it's not easy, is it? Because, you know, you want to be able to really dislike your opponent on the day so that you can play to your maximum, but when you know the guy on the other side of the table so well, that's not always easy.
Yeah, that's right. And there's always been a kind of unwritten rule in the practice room and in the players' room. And most people would be this way. You leave it at the door on the day that you're playing. You forget that you know each other. We'll be pals tomorrow. I'll buy you a coffee. I'll buy you a beer. But today, put it to one side and just get on with the job. That's the way it's got to be in sport. And as I said, it was nice to see the pleasantries at the start, the handshake, the little sort of hug between both fellas. But once they break off, put that to one side, get on with the job.
Zhao is the older player by a couple of years. He'll be 25 in April. Yan Bingtao will be celebrating his 22nd birthday next month. But of course they both have won big already. 2 of the 3 biggest tournaments in the game, the Masters and the UK Championship, so they're well used to the big occasion, albeit that of course Yan Bingtao's Masters triumph came without a crowd behind closed doors in Milton Keynes. Zhao's had a packed house at the Barbican in York at the end of last year.
One. Four.
I guess the standout victory of the week for Zhao has got to be the way he dispatched Judd Trump, who, as we know, is also a breathtaking potter and break builder, but there was no trace of being intimidated by Trump, who has been the best player in the world over the last 2.5 years. Effectively, he beat Trump at his own game. He outpotted him
5.
and won with some comfort 5-1. It's a different story against Ricky Walden when he had to come back from 3-1 behind, very nearly 4-1 behind. But he won 5 straight frames to do so. He's lost the cue ball there a little by the looks of it, though.
12.
Yeah, the cue ball on that type of shot, even though there wasn't a lot of pace in it, it sort of arcs away from the black in this case, that he was obviously potting, and doesn't move forward as quickly, so it almost arced round the red, so it looks like end of break.
Yep.
Both turned pro in the same year, 2016. Yao was only 15 at the time.
Zhao Xintong, 12.
This was a feature of the match last night, actually. Yan Bingtao was sort of feeding off some of the mistakes by Mark Allen that were creeping in. He'll be hoping for a few of those today, obviously, from your opponent. Sort of give you a helping hand along the way.
1.
I was looking at the scoring stats, actually, for the whole week, and Xintong is marginally scored heavier. But actually, when you look through the numbers, he's been pretty strong, as you would expect, obviously. Yan. It's just that he doesn't look like he scores as heavily. That sounds a bit strange, it's a numbers game, but just the way that he plays. But he's ultra solid,
8.
pretty methodical. But as he did, and has done all week long, he gets it done, generally. And a big day there also for Marcel Eckhart, our referee. He's a native of Berlin, and so good to see him getting his home final.
Yes, of course, he made history in becoming the youngest referee to officiate a world final when Ronnie O'Sullivan won his 6th in 2020. Marcel 30 at the time, beating Paul Collier's record in that regard. Another big occasion for him today.
Yeah, they don't get to do lots of interviews, don't they? But I can tell anyone that Marcel, he takes it very, very seriously. His job. He doesn't get too close to any players. I've probably only spoken to him 2 or 3 times ever. He's mindful of that. Just keep away, do your job, and he does it very well. Meanwhile, Yan is doing this very well. That's opened the Reds up. So quite methodical, but effective.
$24. $25. $32.
This Templedrum crowd capable of generating quite a noise, but so respectful when play is underway. You could hear a pin drop out there right now.
33.
They just love the game. They love the skill that this game demands at this level of play. They appreciate all of the players who compete here. And this is why the players love coming here. Particularly, of course, when this venue is reduced to the one table from the semi-finals.
I think we suggested last night that this is the area where
36.
he could be brushing up on, is his cue ball. And look, every player's got areas where they can improve, but you know, a few shots ago he's in neat and tidy around the black spot, and this can happen with Jan. Loses it up table, and now he's got to recover. Again, last night he did this. He made a lot of 30s starts and frames, but not killing it in one visit enough. And he's going to leave a sitter for Zhao Xintong.
36.
Yeah, disappointment for Jan that the break ended as early as it has.
I don't know if he has a coach, actually, Jan, but I think it would be a good thing if he did, just to, not so much anything technical, because technically he's very good and he's sound, but to give him exercises on cue ball control and get really disciplined on that in the practice table. And when it goes wrong, you can put up little challenges for yourself on that side of it. All players do, he'll do it himself. But there are certain ones that you can utilise that will improve your cue ball. But to have a coach alongside you on the practice table is a good thing sometimes, because you make a little mistake, even though it's in practice, your coach will say, no, not good enough. We need this, we need that, and we need a couple other things, so get on that until it becomes second nature. So that's something, you know, he can improve on in the next few years. This fella, though, is what we would call a natural scorer, isn't he? Just good at it. He's just naturally got a good cue ball, allied to his obvious potting ability.
11.
He has a very likeable demeanour, doesn't he, Zhao Xintong? There's no arrogance about him. And he plays the game with almost that permanent smile on his face, but beneath that, you can be certain that there's a pretty ruthless competitor, as he's proved already with that sublime run to the UK Championship title. The way he took out Trump this week.
17.
Yeah, just on his cue ball, you can tell just the last few shots how neat and tidy it is. You know,
18.
It's just that marginally better than, I think, Jan. So this black to hit the front.
$25. 26. $33.
So, a gilt-edged chance, it would appear, for Zhao Xintong to pinch this opening frame.
34.
This black, the red, and another colour should do it.
It's been noticeable, isn't it, this break? He hasn't had to go in and out of bulk.
41.
Hasn't had to play any extravagant positional shots. And as Phil said, this is all but frame ball with a blue
42.
at his mercy. All right, he's just overcooked it, but with his mid-range game, the yellow's not going to be a problem, you wouldn't imagine. To firmly button up this first frame.
Nothing like getting the first frame in a
47.
major final like this, just to settle the inevitable nerves. Particularly
49.
in the way in which Zhao has done it, coming from behind.
He's also got an unusual thing
61.
that's a great asset. He ambles round the table at a steady pace. He doesn't look quick, and yet his time is quick. His shot time is rapid,
67.
but he doesn't look like he's rushing. That's difficult to achieve in itself.
74 and the first round.
A terrific
Zhao Xintong.
clearance of 74 from the UK champion after Bingtao. Mr. Red, he's been punished in style. Zhao Xintong with the opening frame. He leads by 1-0.
Thank you, the second frame.
The Brandon Parker Trophy
Bingtao
for the player to reach 9 frames. This is the second. Bingtao breaking off. Got him first in the opener. Couldn't make it tell. And his good friend punished him. This is the youngest ranking final since 2006, when Neil Robertson beat Jamie Cope for the Grand Prix title. As mentioned, Zhao still 24, Yan still just about 21. And only the second ever all-Chinese ranking final after the 2013 Shanghai Masters title match, which Ding Junhui won at the expense of Zhao Guidong. That was the year that Ding equalled the record of 5 ranking title triumphs in a single season. As we know, Ding has not been pulling up those sorts of trees for a while now. Slipped out of the game's elite. But these two players very much on the rise. But it can't be overstated, can it, Alan, the degree to which Ding's success has been so instrumental in seeing the emergence of this kind of talent from China.
Huge, just huge. I mean, I cast my mind back. I remember, I think, Ding's first appearance at the Masters. It was at the old conference centre. Either that, or I remember being introduced to him in the sort of backstage dressing area. Maybe it was prior to his first appearance. And I thought, yeah, he's a nice young man. And it was not long after he started. He won the UK Championship, he won the China Open, quick succession. And yeah, since then, it's just been a procession of them. But they've got the system correct over in Asia, mainly China, obviously. They have a system where they pick out the best talent, they nurture them and give them the facilities to develop into the players that they are.
Yes, and when Bingtao won his only ranking title today in Riga, he became the first teenager since Ding to lift a ranking title, which was 13 years previously. 3 times a UK champion, Ding, of course, Masters champion, world finalist. And it's to be hoped that he can find his A game once again. But in the meantime, it's all about Zhao and Yan going head to head here at the Temple Drum.
What a try that was. any time, and it almost doesn't matter how difficult the long shot is, the long red or whatever. It's got that going look about it all the time, doesn't it? What an asset to have.
Just take your seats, please. Take your seats, please. Quickly.
Marcel, good stuff. Just quietly exercising his authority out there. That's what you want from a referee. Put this long red in the books. This is the kind of one I'm talking about. It's like he can't miss it. Anything hand in the bed, just on or around straight. I mean, it's in the middle of the pocket. That's the other thing about it. I mean, I know it's not hugely difficult, that red, but it's the monotonous sort of regularity. They just disappear.
8.
And again, he's in with a chance to score heavy.
Nine.
When you think that his UK triumph really came out of nowhere, didn't it? Because he hadn't done anything of great note in the build-up to that tournament this season. Propelled him to the top of the one-year rankings with the £200,000 he collected for lifting that trophy. But, of course, now, having won
16.
a tournament of that magnitude, the self-belief has gone through the roof, and you can just tell by the way in which he's going about his business,
17.
the way in which he saw off Judd Trump, that there's a whole extra layer now of belief to go with the talent. Talking of the one-year list, Yan Bingtao is up to 9th provisionally, having got to the final. If he wins today, he'll be inside the top 8 with the Tour Championship also in mind. That's coming up at the end of March, beginning of April. A couple of weeks' time, it's the Players' Championship for the top 16 in Wolves, which, of course, both players will be appearing in.
23.
Even since that UK triumph, to me it's noticeable. Another improvement in Xintong. He thinks more about it when he's in this position. See, having a scan, having a think, every shot. I think once upon a time, a couple of years ago, he just kind of played off the cuff, off the hoof sort of snooker at times, but he's a lot more thoughtful.
31.
And as I said, at the tail end of frame 1, he's able to keep up that nice pace of scoring while he's thinking. Far right corner, this red. Again,
32.
just swept home.
Yeah, he dropped off the tour, didn't he? Got straight back on, but it's not been plain sailing in terms of Zhao's career development. That probably made him a tougher character, though. The realisation that he would have to work very hard to realise his potential. That wasn't going to come easy to him. It never does, even for the very best.
How unusual was that? You know, he's actually played for a double. It's quite, it's a bit unlucky.
Zhao Xintong.
But, you know, it was unusual. The good thing about it was he didn't try to push the boat out on the black. He accepted he couldn't get in behind the next red. I thought, right, okay. Play for an outside chance. A double, yes, it's gone wrong, but there's not a lot he could have done about that.
One.
Okay, now big shot. I think he's got just about enough pace off this brown where he can get into that bunch. Sort of shot this. I actually don't play to hit the reds. You almost play just to miss the pink spot in the south, just south of the pink spot, because it's always there. So you're used to, again, reference points. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, Bingtao 1.
Looks like he may have got away with it, though. Well, there was room for the red.
1.
Yeah, the obvious thing to say is I want to get a colour safe. He doesn't want to leave the red in the right wing. Because of scoreboard pressure, Jan will take it on.
Green ball. Zhao Xintong. 1.
Yeah, that was actually creative as well. I mean, you know, twice across to park the cue ball, but priority to get the green safe. But at least you don't mind leaving the red as long as it's really difficult, which it is. So he's leading Jan down a couple of paths so far in this match that he doesn't really want to be treading.